The iPhone 7, released back in September 2016, still remains a very attractive option either for those who just wanna get into Apple's ecosystem or maybe for those who wanna have affordable iPhone that still is quite reliable in these times, especially since the new iPhone SE 2020 shares almost identical design to this device. But is the interest of this phone still justifiable after such a long period of time? Well, as a person who has owned this phone for nearly 4 years, I'm gonna give you in this review some details and tell you some things that you may have not known about this phone and things that you should know if you are interested in this model or generally how it's holding up in 2020. But before we get into our review, make sure to press the like button if this video is gonna provide you any value or maybe some entertainment. Subscribe, please smash that subscribe button for more content like that and much more, and comment if you have any question or suggestion. And now, without wasting any of your extra time, let's get to our review. The first thing we have to talk about is of course the build quality, and I've been using this phone for multiple years right now, and I'm surprised with the quality of the aluminum on the back. Yes, it is very slippery, so you have to be careful, but the thing is, it doesn't suffer any bending issues. It's very durable, extremely durable phone. I'm surprised because it didn't seem like one, but I dropped it on multiple occasions unfortunately, and it survived without any bigger damage, any noticeable damage, so big plus for that. Also, there are stereo speakers. This was the first iPhone to introduce ones. There is one on the bottom, one on the top, and what is worth and necessary to mention is the fact that the top one has been deteriorating for quite some time. So what it means basically is that the phone call quality sometimes is poor, and the quality of the speakers is getting a little bit poorer and poorer and poorer as the times goes by. But the thing is, they still produce very decent sound, and I'm actually surprised how well this phone still sounds after 4 years, and I don't think you will be disappointed for the price you are paying for this phone. Really solid stereo speakers. If you are looking for a headphone jack, unfortunately you will not find anything like that because this was the first iPhone to remove it entirely, but it was also the first iPhone to introduce this new clicky home button that bases on its reaction on Taptic engine, and it has been fantastic. After 4 years it shows no signs of any wear and tear whatsoever. It works fantastically and you will not be disappointed with that. The fingerprint sensor built in this home button works fantastically. It's very fast, very accurate, although it will not work perfectly if you have wet hands, and that will be frustrating after some months or years of usage because you just want to unlock your phone and unfortunately it will not work and you just have to press the passcode. Also, due to software updates and iOS 14, the phone slowed down a little bit, so sometimes when you are unlocking it, you just have to wait just a split second for it to unlock. But overall, the biometrics here have been fantastic and I had no troubles whatsoever. Very secure, very fast, very reliable, and that's what this is all about. One last thing about the design are the bezels. Yes, they are here. Yes, there is home button. There is no such thing as all screen design in here, but it's an older phone and it's not as bothersome as some people insist. Yes, it's not the newest design, but will it bother you? I doubt that. If you are buying a phone for such a cheap price, such an affordable price that is 4 years old, I don't think this is gonna be a big concern, and overall the phone still feels extremely premium and it's just fun to use, just fun to scroll like that on a daily basis, just gives you a lot of fun while using this phone despite its age and these huge chunky bezels on the front. The bezels were not so bothersome, but the small battery is. And overall, when it comes to battery life on this phone, it's really not perfect. 4-5 hours on a daily usage, you're probably gonna get out of this phone if you have decent capacity like I have. I have 98% capacity, so the numbers I'm giving you are fairly accurate. iOS 14 did improve actually battery a little bit if the phone doesn't have any heat issues or something like that. Battery is gonna be pretty decent. In my case, it's not the best one I've had. Here you have almost 100% used. 5 hours screen on time with mid usage, with very light usage. If you are gonna game on this phone, if you are gonna really push it to its limits, it's really not gonna last that long. As you can see, just battery usage, YouTube Notes, Messenger, that's basically it. No games, no heavy programs, no recording videos, taking photos. If you are gonna do that, if you are looking for battery champ, definitely not phone for you. But overall, if you're a light user, it's probably gonna be fine, but you are gonna get to know the charger pretty well. Also, if you wanna learn how you can maintain your battery capacity for a very long time, as you can see, I have 98% after 2 years. Link will be down there in the description to my video that I made a few days ago about how to maintain iPhone's battery health, not only iPhones, also other phones too. But there are basically two things you want to do if you wanna preserve your battery, and I'm explaining everything in this video, so link in the description. And now let's get to our review. Well, the battery life was pretty disappointing, but the performance is not. The phone, thanks to the newest iOS 14.2 currently, as the moment of recording this video, really performs very good. The animations on this 4.7-inch Retina LCD P3 color gamut screen are really decent, really fast, really smooth. There is really not much of a problem when it comes to speed, and you may wonder why I'm just scrolling like that and trying to show some kind of performance. Actually, it was much big of a deal on previous versions like iOS 14.1, for example. Scrolling like that, or just, dropping some notifications would be big trouble for this phone, but thankfully iOS 14.2 fixed many of these issues and the phone feels really much better. Also, if you wanna game on this phone, it's still possible, it still performs very decently. I did a video about gaming on this iPhone particularly, so link will be in the description if you are interested, and you may see actually how well this phone still was able to perform after 4 years with 4-year-old hardware. When it comes to RAM, I'm surprised how well this phone is able to sometimes keep apps in the background. It really performs very decently considering it has only 2 gigs of RAM. The optimization of iOS is really stellar, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Everything functions perfectly, properly, and there is really no reason to complain about performance or RAM management. Of course, you are not gonna keep many apps open in the background, but it's not that much big of a deal. This phone is really doing well considering the fact that it's 4-year-old and has only 2 gigs of RAM. Really no problems when it comes to RAM performance and overall speed, and I really hope that future updates will make this phone even snappier, because on iOS 13.7 it was flying. Now it's a little bit worse. There are occasional drops, lags, bugs and things like that, but I believe that Apple is gonna fix that in future updates. The performance held up pretty well, but what about display? Yeah, what about it? Actually, the display, I consider it to be one of the best parts of this phone. This is a very colorful, quite sharp display with P3 color gamut, which basically makes the colors look really natural, really good. And as I said, the display is sharp enough, the viewing angles are pretty decent, there is really no problem when it comes to that. Even the blacks are good on this display. Yes, it is LCD, so it's not gonna be perfect in any way, shape or form, but considering its age, it's really fine display that will not strain your eyes or anything like that, and all the content you are gonna watch on that is gonna be pretty good. It is 16:9 display, so you will have no troubles when it comes to just watching videos like that. The speakers are doing fine job, so no problem when it comes to that. And as I said, the display still goes pretty bright, very decent, will not bother your eyes or anything like that, so I wouldn't really complain about it, considering the fact that it's a very similar display to the iPhone SE or even iPhone 11, just lacking basically the True Tone feature, and that is the only thing that it's lacking here. You have night shift, you have dark mode, all basically that you need. So really no problem when it comes to displays whatsoever, especially considering the price and the age. It's a really fine display that doesn't have any burning issues or something like that. So really, I personally like the display, don't mind it at all. Just like the display, the camera is still holding up pretty decently. Don't get me wrong, this phone is not gonna blow your mind or anything like that with its photographing capabilities, but it's actually pretty decent. And if you just wanna take some decent photos in good lighting conditions, it's gonna do still pretty good, especially like if you're taking some photos for Instagram or Facebook and you will just edit them decently, they will look really nice. Nobody will be complaining particularly. Colors are gonna look decent, sharpness is gonna be pretty okay. The video is probably gonna be even better. You're capable of recording 4K 30 on this phone, but can also record full HD 60 frames per second, and the video quality, I personally have no troubles whatsoever. When it comes to the front facing camera, don't expect anything particularly great, but it's gonna do pretty decently. Photos, selfies are gonna be okay. As I said, don't expect anything great, but it's gonna just get the job done if you want to have some decent camera or take a decent picture. Nothing special, nothing bad. Speaking of phone quality or overall reception, I have no complaints whatsoever, mainly because I live in a big city, so it would be hard to have any connection problems here. But as I said, the top speaker when it comes to phone call quality doesn't produce the best sound, so it is a problem a bit, but you have to remember that this model is a 4-year-old phone, this particular model, so it's probably just the problem I have. I don't think you are gonna have much of a problem. And when it comes to reception, iPhones have not been great. That changed with iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, but this phone, as I said, I live in a big city, so I didn't experience any problems, and it would be really bad indicator if I did. So last but certainly not least is the storage. As you can see, base configuration 32 gigabytes, and it's not enough. Unfortunately, it's not enough. If you wanna take a lot of pictures, have some notes, maybe game or two, it's gonna fill up extremely quickly. So if you wanna get this phone, maybe get 128 gigabytes. It's gonna do much better for you. 32 gigs will be okay if you just take some notes, random notes, write stuff or whatever. If you're just messaging people, listening to music on Spotify, then yeah, it's really gonna get the job done. But in other case, if you're gonna store some games, files here, that's not the case when it comes to 32 gigabytes. There is just no way. But overall, the experience, just to sum things up, is pretty good. The phone performs very decently. As I said, the storage is a problem and is one of the things that will bar you. That's why I said that iPhone 12 Pro is overall a better option in my case compared to 12 because of that storage, because I've been using this phone for a long time with 32 gigabytes and the storage was a problem. I really had to manage things, delete things constantly. So if you can always aim for higher storage, unless you are just, using Messenger, Google Translator, things like that that don't really require much of your storage, then you're gonna be fine. But other than that, aim for something of a higher storage. And also another thing is the software updates overall. You may ask, what's the future of this phone? Nobody knows that, but what I can tell you is the fact that on iOS 14 it has been awful. Some experiences have been really bad, but iOS 14.2 really changed things. The phone really works decently. It got really snappy. I was actually surprised, didn't expect anything like that with the update. And the fact that you are still getting new features to this phone, like as you can see, widgets, new wallpapers, things like that, new emojis, constantly running on the newest software, and you're gonna keep running on it for a while. It's actually a terrific thing, and I have to praise Apple for that here. And also, from a long-term perspective, it has been a tremendous thing knowing that 2, 3, 4 years after you bought your phone, you're still getting the newest software on the same day, everybody, and that has been fantastic when it comes to this phone. And now we're gonna run to the final words and summary. So, to sum up, is this phone still worth in 2020? Well, absolutely. If you wanna have just a reliable phone that will serve you for a year or two, or if you just wanna get into iOS, as I said, and maybe want to test the system, the newest iOS that this phone still supports, then this is a definitely still good option, considering that it's very cheap and still very reliable. As I said in the review, the software updates, especially iOS 14, really hurt this phone and didn't do much good except bringing some extra functionality. But now it has been improving. iOS 14.2 really solved many troublesome issues that this phone had, and now overall it's a much better value. It's not perfect phone. The software updates didn't make it perfect or as fast as it was, but it broadened its functionality and overall speed, and it remains still a very attractive phone in 2020, especially considering the fact that it's probably gonna be supported until 2022 or possibly later. So, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please press the like button, subscribe, and more importantly, be sure to be well. Until next time, peace.